It's still happy hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
As we get closer to the 2026 football season and another highly anticipated one for the University of South Dakota, a major part of its past, present, and future is sitting right next to me here at Gibbs Sports Bar on a Monday. Happy hour. I'm John, and this is Scott Jones.
Cheers.
Coyote Immortality. And, well, I have a Tito's Press, which is pretty standard variety for me. What do you got there again?
I got a Paloma.
A Paloma.
Tequila and grapefruit juice and a little spritz of Sprite or 7-Up.
Great summer drink.
Yes.
Great summer drink.
Very refreshing.
As we get into the happy hour hours on a Monday, it's great to meet you. I just thought somebody who's both a big part of USD history during their last stretch when they were, a nationally championship contending squad to someone who's been giving back and certainly has some emotional and financial investment in the program. I thought it was this would be an awesome opportunity to talk to you. So thanks for taking that opportunity.
Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah.
Certainly appreciate it. Yeah.
Just to rattle off for those of you who aren't up to your USD history, 1985 and 86, you were the quarterback on a pair of national semifinal teams in Division II. In 86, all the way to the championship game where you lost to North Dakota State when your head coach David Triplett, after the game, 27-7 loss, famously said, "I wish the hell they'd get out of Division II. I wish the hell NDSU would get out of Division II." And they did about 20 years later, and we all know what they became in FCS. And they're about to get into FBS, but that was a harbinger. That was a harbinger of things to come.
Yeah, the Bison were really good back then too. They won it 3 out of 4 years. They won the national championship 3 out of 4 years when I was in school. But we beat them 37-17 in the Dome in '85 in Vermillion, and that was the worst beating they'd ever taken in about 40 years.
Yeah, that's piling on right there.
And we had them in the semifinals in '85. If not for a fumble and an amazing pitch by North Dakota State, we probably would have beat them. But.
Yeah, 16-7 lost. So they upended two of the greatest Division II seasons that USD ever had. Pretty sure you still own at least 5 school records, inducted into the USD Athletics Hall of Fame in 2005. By the way, some of those records are rushing records, like the career rushing touchdowns record as a quarterback, 37 of those. Most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, or most rushing yards by a quarterback in a season. 5 rushing touchdowns in one game. Is that still the record as far as you know?
I think that's still the record.
That's tough to beat.
No, mind you, against SDSU also.
There we go. In 1986, which also was the most points anybody has scored in a USD football game. So all those records, 40 years later, still standing. And by the way, before that, a prolific career during a wonderful and historic time at O'Gorman under Bob Burns. In fact, some of it was documented in Stu Whitney's book released this summer, The Great Burns, how a war hero and football coach turned vision into victory. So
he was quite the character.
Yeah.
He did a lot for O'Gorman, the city of Sioux Falls, created the Dakota Bowl, which gets 10 to 12,000 fans every year. It's been a great boon to O'Gorman High School and the Sioux Falls Catholic schools.
Yeah, you come from a long line of Joneses who are part of the Catholic school system here in Sioux Falls. You're born and raised, saved for a couple years in San Diego. You spent your whole life here. And so just before we go down more memory lane, we'll catch people up on what Scott Jones is up to these days. For one, president of McGuire Iron, a water tower construction company, and founded by your father, Gene Jones Sr. So I kind of spelled it out, but what does that involve, and how did you get into that line of work?
It's been in the family for 68 years now. It'll be 70 years coming in 2028. It's been in the Jones family. My dad bought it in 1958 from Ed McGuire for $8,500. He borrowed $7,500 from the bank and $1,000 from his Aunt Eva. And to the day she died, she said my dad owed her a lot more money than $1,000. But a great story.
Yeah.
My dad built the business. We just did service to start out with from 58 to about 82. And then my dad bought a company out of Slayton, Minnesota called Master Tank.
Yeah.
And started building tanks. And it was always his dream to build new tanks and get into the construction. So it's been a great run. Me and my brothers bought him out in the mid-'90s and have continued to grow it and built a new facility out where 229 and 90 meet at the junction there. And we got a little water tower out front for training and stuff and for advertising. And we got our new facility, and it's really rocking and rolling. Took a while to teach the old boys new tricks, but they're really coming along, and we're really producing. Basically, we got 100% efficiency from 24 to 25 in increase in productivity. So
holy smokes,
it's been going great.
Is it like where in South Dakota that are water towers that might be famous or stick out? I mean, almost every town has a water tower, but what are some of the ones that you guys have?
Yeah, we've probably worked in 400 or 500 communities in South Dakota.
Okay.
We've got 1,000 maintenance contracts throughout the country. We work in 33 states.
Yeah.
We've got about 300 coworkers that we work with now, and the business is doing great.
What about being the president of that company for you? What about your days as a quarterback of a college football team, and a pretty high stakes, high profile high school football team here in Sioux Falls, all very successful, has helped you in the business world? Seems like a kind of a cliche, but I'm guessing it's true that helps.
Yeah. It definitely helps. The competition, the fire in the storm. Being calm under pressure. Yeah, that takes a lot, especially when you're working in a business like we do, where safety is the number one concern. Yeah. You're working on elevations 150 to 200 feet up in the air. Safety is a huge part of what we do. So always staying calm under pressure, and I think leading teams has really served me well from my football career going into business.
Were you ever working up to 100 feet or 200 feet in the air on the towers?
Yeah, we all did it. all the brothers worked on the tanks. We sandblasted, we painted, we welded. Our dad got behind us when we were 12 years old and said, "Get your butt up that tank and get to work."
Wow.
So he would climb up with us, kind of touching us as we climbed. But we all climbed at 12 years old. So
dang. Wow.
We weren't working at 12 years old, but we were climbing.
Just to clarify, in case there's any statutes of limitations.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to be like Dad,
Yeah. Child labor is going to come after you. And we get you all up to speed to these days, where just a couple of years ago, until Denny Sanford came in and kicked in $20 million, your family gave the largest private family gift USD Athletics had ever had up until that point, and it's gone to the football program, or was supposed to go to scholarships for student athletes and supporting the entirety of the USD athletic department. And then you have you and your wife Lisa have the Scott and Lisa Jones family offensive coordinator position. The Tim Morrison's position is named after you. What went into that investment? And I'm not talking dollars and cents, just why the investment, and what does it mean to you to give back to USD?
Yeah, it was really important. USD gave me a lot coming out of the university. My second oldest son graduated from there in 2024. My wife graduated from there. So USD's really given me a lot as far as education and as far as football, camaraderie, the teammates, lifelong friends. We were having our 40-year reunion for the 86, 85 teams this year. We're going to celebrate it for the North Dakota game.
Okay.
The Fighting Sioux.
That's right.
Not the Fighting Hawks.
Got to be weird. Got to be weird for you.
So really looking forward to that. The whole team's going to come back, the coaching staff, and it's going to be a great time celebrating with all of our former teammates.
Yeah. How important is it to be of a financial help to a place like USD, particularly a football program? You know what the challenges are now that we have the NIL world, how competitive it is. A program that's cranked up in the last 3 years, and really it started building once Bob Nielsen got here, but certainly the last 3 or 4 years, here they are, a constant part of the national championship picture in FCS. You would know better than anybody what it takes to stay there.
Yeah.
How much of a part was that in your reasoning to invest?
Yeah, we hired John Schemmel as our athletic director, and he was with us from about 04 to 15. He was the lead fundraiser for the athletics department. And when we brought him back in, it was purposeful and intentional because he was such a good fundraiser. And we knew we needed somebody in that position that was a key fundraiser. And it was very important to the program, to the university as a whole, and to the athletics department. So once he got in that position, we were looking at doing something more significant. We had made a donation in about 15 for the new basketball arena. Mm-hmm. And this was really intentional and focused on football, creating scholarships for the football players and the student athletes, and really dumping money back into the program for new facilities so we could get the Dome as just a football-only facility.
Yeah.
And that's coming
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah. And
we're excited
It
about
sounds,
that.
Captain Obvious. Why is that so important? And what about the new designs and plans excites you about that?
Yeah. So really it's super important to the football program because they have to roll up the turf every off season. So like for the farm show and there was some consternation on getting rid of that, but it's a good thing overall for the university. Good things coming for football, basketball, women's basketball, our volleyball team, our softball team got into the tournament this year. So really our athletic programs are doing great things throughout the university.
Yeah. Just from a donor, a booster, an alumni point of view, and certainly someone who left their mark athletically on the athletic department, particularly the football program, just give us an idea of how intense. I could put an X number of years on this, last 5. NIL goes back 3 or 4 years, and I know it's not a major part of FCS, but it comes into the fold with starting to lose players that maybe you wouldn't have lost in the past once they get good and get to go play for big bucks in bigger schools. But how much more intense has it to, for lack of a better word, it's kind of a pun here, to keep up with the Joneses in major college athletics?
Yeah, it's,
the last 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah. So the whole NIL deal has really changed the game, changed how you coach, how you recruit. Yeah. So on purpose, my gift was to go towards facilities and to improve the student athlete experience at USD. None of my money was supposed to go, none of our money was supposed to go to NIL.
Right. And that
was on purpose.
Was that a tough decision for you, or why did you decide?
Not really, because we didn't have that when I played. I think it kind of separates the team. If one guy's getting 100,000 and the other guy's getting, maybe nothing, it kind of divides the team.
Yeah.
So I'm a big, unity team guy, all for one and one for all. The greatest teams have great leaders on the team within the players group that lead the team. And so, by dividing everyone, you kind of create some silos. And so I purposefully didn't want any of my money to go to NIL.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. And so it's going toward things that are going to just make that place, the facilities, competitive with other teams it's competing against, and a place that maybe more players will be attracted to and obviously want to stay in.
Yeah,
totally get it.
Yeah, to build the culture, to build the facilities. We really like Matt Vitztham, our new head coach this year. He's a player's coach. He does things the right way. He does things for good for the team and for the players, and really think he's going to have a great year.
What, besides investments, you and others, and the work of Schimmel raising money, which is a huge part in all of this, and some of the reasons why there was a gap between maybe USD and SDSU and DSU in the years before these things started to pile up and come on strong. What have you just seen? Football program, athletic department, and then the excitement or interest and investment level, emotionally and financially, from fans just in the last few years.
Yeah, it's really kicked up. The investment in people investing in USD and the athletics program has really taken off over the last couple of years. I think I did my pledge in July of 2024. And I think John House followed that up with a really big donation in the fall of 24. And then we've had numerous other people, along with Denny Sanford and Bill Gasson, and contributing to the new wellness center and the new indoor track. And so a lot of people have stepped up and really supported USD, and our great president, Sheila Gestring, is doing great things for the university, and Schimmel also. Yeah.
He said obviously you and Lisa have been a big part of what's been going on, but let's go back into just to what led you into becoming a USD Coyote in the first place back in the 80s. Mentioned born and raised in Sioux Falls, and our boss, Patrick Lally, editor of Sioux Falls Live, he was at O'Gorman and the Catholic school system before it. He grew up in the old Cathedral neighborhood. What part of town did you grow up?
By Patrick Henry.
Okay, yeah. Okay, over there in the
south of St. Mary's.
South of St. Mary's, they're all right over there. What kind of a lineage in your family was there to O'Gorman? I mean, was this a multi-generational family?
Yes. Yeah. So my oldest brother, Gene Jones Jr., or better known as Putz.
Yeah.
He played running back for the 80, would have been the 79 and 78 teams. The 78 team won the mythical state championship.
Right.
When the voters, the newscasters across the state would vote for the top teams in the state in high school.
Yeah.
And they decided who the champion was.
Pre-playoffs, man.
Yeah.
We used to not settle it after that ninth game or whatever. And you were a ball boy in the 1978 Dakota Bowl.
Yes, I was. Absolutely.
Which may have been the first one. Or was it the first one?
76 was the Bicentennial Bowl.
That Bob brought
there. And
there.
then they switched it to the Dakota Bowl in 78.
Okay. How much did you look up to your brother? How much did you look up to Bob Burns in being, a kid in elementary or middle school and eventually knowing you were going to go play football at O'Gorman? I ask that knowing, because I read Stu's book, The Great Burns, before Bob Burns got there in '76, it was, it struggled. I mean, they struggled mightily to compete against the Sioux Falls schools and everybody else. But once he got there, what do you recall just about what it was becoming and you becoming a part of it?
So it was the old Sioux Interstate Conference. So it was the Sioux Falls schools, O'Gorman, Washington, Lincoln. I don't think there was a Jefferson at the time, or Roosevelt. So it was the 3 Sioux Falls schools and the 4 Sioux City schools: Sioux City North, Sioux City East, Heelan, and West. And that was the conference.
Yeah.
We loved going down there. It was an hour-and-a-half drive. So really quick, a quick road trip. In fact, we played some games in the Dome. I think we played East when I was a junior, and we played Heelan when I was a senior in the Dome. It was O'Gorman's home game, and they're talking about reviving some of that.
Yeah. That's good. Well, the legendary story is Bob, they moving the games from the home field, which I believe you guys were playing home games at Howard Wood.
We were.
O'Gorman was back in the late 70s. And Bob would move a game a year against a Sioux City team into the Dakota Dome and famously get back on the bus after the game with a big duffel bag of cash from all the from all the gate that O'Gorman was able to take, because obviously you're getting more Sioux City fans to come to pop up to Vermilion than they would have traveled to Sioux Falls. One of the many things he did to literally raise money and raise the profile of O'Gorman. What else do you remember about Bob? Because it sounds like he was a pretty mythical figure, a maddening figure. You've got to have some stories.
He was a legendary coach. He really was. He was a promoter. He was a Golden Gloves boxer. He was a war hero. He was a huge promoter for O'Gorman. He was a great coach. He was old school. He was tough. He was tough on you, but he taught things the right way. He would, he'd get it right in there and run a play for you and show you how to do it. And he was really big into the quarterback carrying out the fakes. And we ran the ball a lot. We would run 36 power over and over until they stopped us.
Yeah.
He would always say, run it till they stop you.
You're right.
So he was a legendary coach.
And you were running quarterback, and it was 19. You didn't start as a sophomore in 1980, did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
81. You're a junior, and and read this all in the book. You had a nice big win over Washington to start the year. Then in the Dakota Bowl, things went awry. Do you remember the kinds of things he would say to motivate you after you had a bad game like that?
Yeah. So against Lincoln, the first Dakota Bowl I played in, we lost 13-7 or something like that. I don't recall the score, but he benched me after the game. I had a really good game against Washington, and then maybe got a little too big for my britches for the Lincoln game, and he benched me for the Sioux City North game, and then brought me back at halftime of that Sioux City North game, and continued to lead the team after that. But we had some great players. I was a junior at the time. John Weisensee, Mike Rogers, John Weisensee, a lot of great players that did a lot of great things for O'Gorman.
Right.
And we ended up winning the state championship that year against Yankton.
Now, this is the first ever state championship game, real state championship game.
Yeah.
First ever time they had an actual playoffs. He was a big part of that. He was a big part of drumming up him and some other athletic types, powerful people from O'Gorman and beyond, to convince the Athletic Association. I don't know if he had to convince the state legislature or anything, but he was a big force behind. We want to sell these games in a real postseason and in a real game. Again, he had the vision of, let's do something big and let's put this on TV and let's get us in this brand new Dakota Dome. Yeah. And you guys got to play in it for the very first time.
Yeah.
What are your go ahead.
So the Weisensee brothers were our 2 running backs. We ran a double wing offense. Left half was Pat Weisensee. He was the younger one. John Weisensee was the right halfback. And their father was an attorney in Sioux Falls. And so he was involved in the legislature. They brought a suit against the state to allow us to have football playoffs.
Yeah, yeah.
And it passed through that year, that summer, before my junior year. And so we got the South Dakota High School Activities Association football playoffs in 1981. And we were primed for it. Yeah. You know, Coach Burns had been talking to us about it for a couple of years. He knew it was coming. So he had us ready for it, and we won that first one. Yankton was favored in the first game. They were bigger, faster, stronger than the O'Gorman kids. We were 150 pounds soaking wet, and we didn't have a chance. But behind closed doors, Bob would tell us, you guys are going to win. You guys are going to beat the Bucks in this championship game. And
their legendary coach, Max Hawk. 12-3 was the score of that game. Slow start. You threw a 29-yard touchdown pass to Pat Weisensee Weisensee, thank you, late in the first half. And that's ended up being all you guys needed on offense. But he gave you guys the confidence. He gave you guys the vision. But why? Why were you able to make up that size gap or that talent gap? What were the secrets?
He was a great motivator.
Yeah.
You know, and the rest of our coaching staff were great motivators, and we took it upon ourselves we wanted that state championship more than they did. I mean, we just flat out wanted it more, and that's what it takes to win. When teams are that close talent-wise, it takes heart to win those games. So we were happy that we won the state championship, and it's been a lot of fun over the years.
What do you remember most about that night? I mean, what are the most unforgettable
flashpoints? Just after the game, you know, lifting Burns up and
were you one of the guys that did
him
it?
Up. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And just, you know, the joy, the tears of joy from all the hard work and going through and getting that state championship, just it sends chills down my spine to this day. Yeah, for sure.
Because he was a guy that it sounds like maybe when you were going through it, especially when you were younger, and especially when you made mistakes, he was maybe an easy guy to respect that you had to, right? Yeah. And he had the credibility. You know, he's a coaching legend already in this state. But how badly did you want to win for him? Like, what was it about him that made you guys want to win for him? And then how, therefore, the satisfaction of doing so. You know?
Yeah. So you know, you'd run through a brick wall for that guy. He was so motivating. He spoke in plain terms, although sometimes he was a little confusing. Every once in a while, he'd say, "Jones, you got a brain like an overshoe." I'm like,
what's an overshoe?
I'd look at him. What does that mean, Coach?
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. But you know, he was just a great guy, a great motivator. Yeah. You knew that he had your back, and you'd run through a brick wall for that guy.
Yep. So you won the state title as a junior, and then in '82 you're a senior leading the team, and now you guys he made #1 patches for you guys that you wore proudly, and just to get to play Yankton in the state championship game, you had to come from 20-8 down against Watertown in the semifinal. And apparently this is where another great Bob Burns moment happens. It was halftime. Can you take us into the locker room and remember what he said or did?
of the Watertown
game just to get to the championship. Yeah, because you're down by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, so I can't remember if it. So yeah, we were down by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
At halftime. He basically just said, get out there and get it done.
Yeah.
Maybe threw a few things across the locker room, but he was a master motivator. He got the best out of everyone, and everybody respected him and loved him after you were done playing for him. You didn't necessarily love him when you were playing for him, but he was a master motivator.
Yeah. And then you played a rematch with Yankton in the second ever state championship game of the playoffs. And this time you guys lost 10-6. Just couldn't quite get it going. There was a goal line stand in the third quarter. Turned out to be his last game. Steve Keeter, again, as Steve Whitney's book details, with so much great help from you and Keeter and so many other people who were a part of the coaching staff and playing at that time. Steve Keeter was waiting in the wings. He kind of agreed to go there to eventually take over for Bob, and so he did. So you were on Bob's last team and his last game, which was a loss in the state championship game. For all the euphoria of '81, what was the '82 experience like, especially when it was all over?
That was tough. Your last game as a high school player.
Yeah.
You lose when you won the state championship the year before.
Yeah.
But great experiences. I've still got a ton of high school friends that we played ball with, that we get together every year up at Lake Madison and share stories and create new memories and stuff. But the camaraderie that you have with those teams and the friendships that you make last a lifetime. And Bob Burns was a big part of that, and we owe everything to him for creating that camaraderie and that team unity that really made us successful.
Did you guys know that was his last game?
We didn't at the time.
Okay.
No, we thought maybe there was whispers going amongst the team, but. So I think at halftime I maybe said something to the team, let's win this one for Burns, and we just couldn't quite pull it off.
Yeah.
But
that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And so that was it for your career at O'Gorman. And again, you're a running quarterback. Were you running a lot of option at the time, I'm guessing?
We ran 38 pitch sweep keep, which was a sweep. It was student body right or student body left.
Yeah.
And I kept the ball, and everybody would block for me. Most of the
over
times,
and over again.
Yeah, I would go 10 yards without getting touched, and because everybody did a great job blocking. We had a heck of an offensive line and good wide receivers that were good blockers, and we threw the ball about 5 times a game.
So it seems like that turned out to be a great fit at USD, because you just kept being a productive running quarterback there under Dave Triplett. But here's where I ask you, why did you decide to go there? Who were the other schools that were trying to court you to come there? And why did you land on USD?
Yeah. So I loved playing in the Dome.
You'd already gotten a taste. Yeah.
2 state championships there, 2 home games there, my junior and senior year. I was thinking about going to medical school at the time. But really I was getting recruited by SDSU, USD, the Citadel, Idaho State. I went out to a camp at Idaho State, and one of the defensive coordinators left and went to the Citadel, so that's why they recruited me out there. North Dakota State, Augie, most of the local schools.
Yeah.
No really D1 prospects at the time, but made a decision to go to USD, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It was a great experience. Got my degree in chemistry. So, great teams, great camaraderie, a heck of an offensive line. My 2 roommates were All-American center Jerry Galinsky, and Tim McFarland, All-American guard, who passed away at 44 years old from pancreatic cancer in 2008. But we're going to honor him at the 40-year reunion for the 85 and 86 team for the North Dakota game, and all of our comrades and teammates that have passed on.
Very cool. What do you remember walking into there? Dave Triplett was the coach. This was a guy who had played at Iowa. He was a fairly young head coach. He was only 10 or 11 years removed from playing, so I'm guessing he's in his early 30s. Mm-hmm. Before you got there, he went 5-6 or 6-5 for 4 straight years. And your freshman, did you redshirt?
Nope.
You didn't redshirt. Okay,
nope.
So you're 83, your first year there, you're 7-4. But football program wise, not only at USD but also the great old North Central Conference.
Yeah.
What do you remember walking into? What was it like at that time?
I really liked our recruiter in South Dakota, John Mumford. He was a linebackers coach and then eventually he became defensive coordinator. I really liked him and created a relationship with him. Coach Triplett was a really smart coach and really was a builder of teams. He was a great young coach, smart football mind, and did a great job with the whole team, the recruiting process, and we were the real deal for sure.
Yeah.
We had great players at every position. We had a powerful offensive line. We averaged over 300 yards rushing per game in 1986.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could kind of, in your younger years, could you kind of feel something was building, something special?
Yeah. Our class that came in 83 and the class just before us would have been the 82 class. They were some really good players and some really talented players and smart.
Yeah.
Who had a good heart and would pull for each other and created a lot of team unity and that's why we were so great, because we were so close.
Okay. And the North Central Conference in those days, your whole time there, mid-'80s, explain the quality, the difficulty, all of that.
Yeah. The NCC was a powerhouse in Division II. It was the greatest Division II conference in the country, without a doubt. North Dakota State won it 3 out of 4 years, the national championship, when I was in school. So, like I said, we beat them that one game in my junior year, beat them bad, and we should have beat them in the semis that year. But bygones be bygones at that point.
Well, let's go back to 85. That was a 10-3 season, as we've mentioned back then. Looks like were there just 8 teams that went into the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
8 teams in the country. So it's hard to make the playoffs. Yep. Period. It's a big deal just to get there. Before you got to NDSU in the semifinals, you had a double overtime game against a college from Ohio called Central State. Double overtime. I'm very curious to hear how the plays were made just to win that game. That had to have been a huge win.
They had a really strong defense. They had some linebackers that a couple of them went to the pros. So they were a very talented team, very hard-nosed, tough up front, tough in the linebackers. Our defense really shut them down. I think it was 3-3 at the end of the game.
Yeah. Wow.
And then we ended up scoring a touchdown. I think they scored a touchdown. And then we kicked a field goal, and then we stopped them. So I'm not sure if that's how it went, but that's 41 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was a great game. Two tough teams grinding it out against each other, and we came out on top.
Right. And then you remember the North Dakota State game, you said that was you had them and it got away in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, we scored first on about a 75-yard touchdown play to pass to Rod Tweet. I think I threw it about 70 yards, and he caught it in stride and went into the end zone. And we were actually marching in to go up 14-0, and we were on maybe the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
And somebody, we ran an option to the wide side of the field, to the left side, and somebody hit me and knocked the ball out. I thought I was in the end zone maybe, but knocked it out. They recovered, and 2 plays later they ran the infamous Bentram was laying out on the turf like an inch from touching the turf, and he pitched it to I think it was Molstry, and he ran 90 yards for a touchdown. We were coming back at the end of the game, driving down the field, and just couldn't quite cut it. But great experience, and it made us tougher for the next year. We took the next step the next year, but had to play the Bison again in the national championship and got beat. But wouldn't trade those years for anything.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you how motivating that was for '86, and you just kind of answered that. And I'd love to just, first of all, how heated of a rivalry were the Yotes and the Jacks, in your own words, 40 years ago? And in the same breath, the '86 game, this is the one where you set the school record for most rushing touchdowns in a game with 5. What do you remember about that day? But also the atmosphere of any state versus you.
Yeah, I had a good buddy that was on South Dakota State's team, Tom Slattery.
Yes, we know Tom.
Defensive lineman.
JJ's Wine and Spirits now.
Yeah. His boy works there. Yep. Great guy. He was an offensive lineman and a defensive tackle for us at O'Gorman, but he was a defensive tackle for SDSU. So we went against each other. I wasn't blocking him by any means, but he was a lot bigger than me. But, he got me one time behind the line of scrimmage, and somebody got a picture of it. So for my 40th birthday, he gave me a framed picture of that tackle. I almost slipped it, too.
Yeah.
But he got me for a 2-yard loss. That was the only time he ever touched me. But, and I always remind him we were 5-1 against you guys, but the win they had against us on Hobo Days, 1985, was one of their biggest wins ever. I think we were number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
We had just beaten North Dakota State a couple weeks ago. We beat Morningside on the last play of the game at D-Days. So we came into that one pretty high, and they humbled us. Yeah. But we came back at the end of the game, made it close, but they won that one.
Was State versus you still the big game on the schedule every year for you guys? It
was.
Okay, it was still above all the others, because I know it was a tough league, and you had NDSU, which is probably the big gorilla, but that was still the big one.
Yeah, it was still a huge rivalry for sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, what do you say about the '86 playoff run? You beat. UC Davis 26-23. That had to have been a nail biter.
Yeah, we were down at halftime of that game, 10 or 11 points. We went into the third quarter, scored a couple touchdowns, went up. They scored a touchdown, went up again. And fourth and about 9, we ran a pass play, which we didn't run a lot of pass plays my senior year. We led the league in passing efficiency. We led the league in passing efficiency my junior year. But senior year, we didn't throw the ball a lot, probably on average 10 times a game. So we called a pass play. Kurt Southwick gave me the signal from outside. He grabbed his face mask. That means a fade. And I faked to the fullback coming in, dropped back to pass, and threw him a back shoulder pass. And he caught it, landed in the end zone, and we went up and won the game. So congratulations, Kurt Southwick.
With how much time on the clock?
Maybe a minute.
Okay.
And they got the ball back and recreated a fumble and recovered it.
Where was that game?
At UC Davis.
It was okay.
Yep.
It was out there. The Troy State win, 42-28 in the semifinals to get to the championship game. Was that down in Troy, or was that at the
No,
Dome?
that was in the Dome.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I
Yep.
mean, at this point, that was the hurdle you couldn't clear the year before. This was to get to the title game. What do you remember about that day? I mean, that's obviously that goes down to this day as one of the great victories in the USD history.
I remember about that game was I got hurt midway through the third quarter. I got dinged pretty hard, and I got up, and I was seeing stars.
No, ma'am, go wherever you'd like. It's okay. It's okay. Come on in.
That's my wife.
Okay. There we go. She's like,
She doesn't
she
even
wasn't
know I'm
quite-
here.
Oh, okay. You didn't. You're what?
I know.
Oh,
At 4
okay.
o'clock.
Okay.
4 o'clock.
We got to wrap
Yeah.
her up.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Okay.
I would be bellied up to the bar.
His wife thought he was going to be bellied up at the bar. There you go. Well, nice
All right.
to meet you.
All right.
Okay, Lisa.
Yep.
There we go. Well, you're off to okay. So you got more planned for your Monday. The Troy game. You'd gotten hurt.
Yeah, so I got hurt in the middle of the third quarter. Already had 140 some yards rushing, 15 carries. Got dinged. Actually, I could hear some of my old teammates from the year before that graduated. They were yelling at me from the stands, from the bleachers. I started walking over to them because I was dinged so bad, and was going to go up and have a beer with them. But they came and grabbed me. A couple of my teammates came and grabbed me and took me over to the sidelines. I didn't play the rest of the game.
Yeah.
We were up by 2 touchdowns. We went down by a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and Joe Longville, my backup, came in and did a fabulous job, led us to a couple touchdowns, and we ended up winning by a couple touchdowns.
Did you get to play in the national championship game against North Dakota State?
I did.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
What was the key for that day for
You know,
their domination?
We fumbled down towards their goal line. Would have been 14. We were driving down the field and end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. Would have made it 17, 14, and 4th and 8. We just didn't. Thompson caught the ball, just wasn't far enough for a first down. I probably threw it a little low, just didn't get the first down. And kind of after that, we had to punt to them. They returned a punt for a touchdown and just couldn't overcome some of those mistakes.
I mean, it was the best 2-year stretch in USD modern football history. There's Joe Salem had some great teams, some NCC title teams. What was it, late '60s, early '70s? But I mean, that's as far as USD ever got. And both years were to NDSU. And you've given some comments already about that. Do those losses still really sting, or are you at this point in your life where like, hey, we had some awesome teams? You've mentioned the camaraderie that you still feel. I mean, how do you balance those emotions?
Yeah, it still burns a little bit, that North Dakota State game, but I don't let it affect me. I always say, something about the Bison.
Yeah, sure.
But it was a great times. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Great teammates, great coaches. Wouldn't trade any of it for anything else in my life.
A couple more, because literally we got to get you out the door. But we kind of speed things up to what's happened in the last 40 years. In the later Division II days, West Bashana and USD had some great teams. There's been some pop-ups, but then how do you look back on the time around 2002, 03? SDSU and NDSU are deciding to go to Division I. As a proud alumnus, how are you feeling about USD at the time, deciding to stay back and then go 5 years later? How do you look back on all that?
I basically supported the university through whatever decisions they made. They decided to stay in Division II, and I went gave a talk to the Board of Regents.
Yeah.
Also, and this is where we should be. So we made a conscious decision to stay there. I'm not saying it was the right one at the time. Maybe it was the wrong one. But we made the decision later on to go Division I, and we've done it successfully. We've had a lot of success over the last few years. We even had some success in Streveler's years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Bob did a great job building the program. Turned it over to Travis last year. The start wasn't very good that year, last year, but they really came together after those first 4 games, and really pulled it off and pulled together. And that's a sign of great leadership and great coaching and great camaraderie amongst the team. And I think only the best is to come for the Coyotes.
It's got to be a great sense of pride seeing it built all back up like it is. You said you like Vitz. How do you feel? Have you been kind of keeping tabs on who's back and some initial reports from practices and all that?
Yeah.
How do you feel about this team?
I feel really good about it. He's saying we're really strong in the offensive line and the defensive line, which are the keys. You got to win that battle up front. And he's building us to win that battle on the offensive line and defensive line, and that's the key.
Yeah.
Our great teams, our offensive line dominated. Our defensive line dominated every game. Yeah. And that's what it takes to win in the FCS.
There you go. And last one, of course, I can't let you go without asking you, as a major stakeholder in where USD is right now, as a major player on the national scene in the FCS, but times are changing in college football, and NDSU's gravitated toward the FBS, and who knows what might happen. But how would you feel if it felt like you might be pulled that way along with SDSU about the FBS someday, knowing what it would take financially and otherwise?
Right. Whatever it takes for us to have a successful program and to keep the university going forward, that's what we need to decide to do. We need to make a common choice of accelerating the university and the student athletes and the football program. So whatever choice that is, when we make it, it will be the right choice.
Yeah. Is that kind of the case sometimes where athletics is a front door to the university?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Athletics is a huge part of the university's growth and decision making, for sure.
Because I'm not predicting they're gonna make the leap, but that's whenever a leap is made, that's a lot of the reason that goes into it sometimes.
Yeah. And we're ready for it.
You think so?
If that comes,
some people
we've got plans. We've
got
plan A, B, and C. Schemmel,
yeah,
our athletic director, he's got plans.
Because there's a perception, and I'm not saying I'm in this crowd, that USD doesn't have, frankly, the money or the resources to make the leap and compete someday. You're saying they do, or they would?
They would if it comes to that.
Got it.
We'll follow along with the SDSUs, the Montana schools.
Yeah.
We should all go together if we go.
Yeah. That'd be something else. That'd be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
In the meantime, I'll let you get to literally what's next today. Thank you so much for stopping by. You still have to finish your, what is it again?
Paloma.
And but it was great to meet you and to talk some football with you, and have some fun this year. We'll probably see you down at the Dome.
Sounds good, John. Thanks a lot.
Scott Jones, USD Immortality, here today on Happy Hour. Cheers.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.